let's get started. So for those who don't know me, I'm Justin Hiles. I am the COO at VLK Architects. I am a proud alum of UTA. I graduated in '02 with my Bachelor of Science in Architecture and my Master's in '06. So I've been at VLK for almost 19 years now after graduating from UTA. It's a great firm, and we'll walk you through a little bit of the history of the firm, and then we'll walk you through both our Plano office and our Fort Worth office. So with that, let's get started. So we were founded in 1984 as a K-12 education architecture firm. We started in Arlington, Texas, this is our headquarters, and we moved to Fort Worth in 2010. In 2000, we opened our Houston office. As we've grown, both office locations, we've also grown in our market sectors. We'll get into that in a second. We are on our third partnership. The original owners retired in 2002, and a second set of partners took over then, and both of those have sold in 2015 to Sloan Harris and Todd Lean. Most recently, just last January, we added Michael Antonora in our Austin office to head up our commercial practice. So like I said, we do have offices in Fort Worth, Houston, Dallas, and Austin. We are one of the top 300 firms nationally in architecture, and number 3 in the Southwest. We do practice in 5 different market sectors: commercial, interior, higher ed, automotive, and K-12. Like I said, K-12 is what we were founded on, and we've added the other market sectors as we've grown. We are fortunate to have a lot of employees that have been here for a very long time. We feel our culture lends itself to long tenured employees. And as you can see here, that we are just over 7 years average tenure for anybody that was not hired since last summer. So getting to our practice areas. So like I said, our K-12 is what the firm was founded on. We work in numerous districts across the state of Texas. We practice all over the state of Texas, from East Texas, Houston area, Central Texas, West Texas, and El Paso. We've done work in Panhandle and then in North Texas. Our automotive practice started work in 2009, and we've grown to doing about 10 to 12 projects in the automotive sector a year. Our higher ed is a practice. We've done many university work, community college across the state of Texas. And then commercial and interiors, we started that practice in '06. And we've done numerous projects, a lot of things in downtown Arlington that you may have seen venturing outside of campus, were projects done by VLK. Here's sampling of some of the clients we work with on the commercial side, with some projects there. The bottom left one is in Arlington. Now I'm blanking on the name. I apologize, but I know it's on front on Elm Street. And then the middle picture there is a project we did in downtown Fort Worth, a rooftop patio for one of the penthouses there, and we restored an old water tower to turn that into a dining feature. And then the bottom right is a small commercial Jimmy John's on the first floor with office space on the second floor. That's in the medical district in Fort Worth. Our interiors, we do a lot of commercial interiors, tenant finish out, and also building rehab. The bottom left is Mercantile Center in North Fort Worth. That was a building that was occupied by the FBI. and they moved out, and the building owner asked us to refinish their entry lobby, site, and all the public spaces so they could attract new tenants. And we then did a lot of tenant work there. The middle picture is SCM BIOS Partners in Fort Worth. This won an AIA Fort Worth Design Award last year. And then the bottom right is the new office for American Paint Horse Association in the Fort Worth Stockyards. That was actually one of my projects. It was a lot of fun to go into a 120-year-old building that was also being constructed at the same time into a core and shell for office and restaurant. And we did the interior finish out for this building. Our higher ed, here you can see a sampling of clients that we've worked with. Texas A&M and UTA are two of our bigger partners we've worked with, and as well as some smaller colleges in Texas and community colleges. UTA, I was actually the first project I ever did at VLK was Arlington Workforce Center. They're on the southeast side of campus. We also did the bookstore, which actually opened while I was still at UTA. So then next is our automotive. A lot of projects we've done across the Metroplex and in Central Texas for automotive practice. You've probably seen these driving around town. There's new Service King there on I-30 in Arlington, or just, I guess, west side of Arlington at Cooks Lane. That was actually a rebrand of their service center. So if you see that, that's something that we designed, came up with instead of doing their prototypical design. And then K through 12 is our, like I said, our largest market sector, and numerous clients all across the state. Like I said, from El Paso to Central Texas, North Texas, East Texas, on the coast. We've done work in pretty much every market across Texas. So we are at VLK, we are very employee focused. We understand that our employees are the most important part of our firm. They do our projects, and if they're happy, they're going to make sure our clients are happy. We've been honored to receive a lot of awards, especially recently, of best places to work. And again, top 300 firms, top 500 firms, both nationally and across the state. And I think that's a testament to our culture of making sure our employees are happy at VLK. Our biggest thing we want to impart is making sure that our clients are successful. And we do that by making sure that we are designing custom solutions for our clients. So we do not have, if you look at all our projects on our website, there is not a VLK style that we try to impart on any project. Our style is our client style, and we make sure that we're designing to best fit their needs. We are also hope to be very impactful to our community. We're involved in a lot of professional organizations. Last year, I was president of AIA Fort Worth. And we have other staff members that are on the boards of IDA, Crew Fort Worth, Real Estate Council Fort Worth, Leadership Fort Worth, as well as participating in other events in the community. We feel that our architecture is impacting our community, so we want to be involved and make sure that we're having an impact outside of the buildings that we're designing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Dallas office, and we're going to do a quick tour there. And then you'll probably see me again towards the end in Q&A.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Workman, and I am the Architecture Director for the Dallas location for VLK. I'm here to give you guys a tour of the Dallas office, meet some of our employees, and see what we have to offer. So follow me, please. So this is our lobby area. We have 2 meeting rooms up front where we are constantly using for kind of breakout spaces. And I'd like to introduce you to Brian Sarman and his team in this room here.
Hello, this is the Lake Dallas ISD team. We're working on several projects with the district, about $51 million worth of construction, and some of the teams here today. So, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm an emerging professional. I've been at VLK for about 6 months total, and I'm currently working on a learning annex in Lake Dallas. Learning a lot, and it's been pretty great.
And I'm Zach Sprinkle. I've been here about 5 years. I'm an emerging professional as well. And currently we're working on Lake Dallas, and I'm specifically working on a new indoor practice facility. So that's been fun to work on.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. We recently just did a second floor pour on the addition next to the high school. So the high school is actually occupied and the students are learning, and we're also building right next to it. So it's a really cool and challenging project. Here's where we first started day one, the rendering, and a couple months ago where we were. So quite a bit of work's been going on there, and it's a very exciting project. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, if you'll follow me, I'll take you to our break room. It's kind of the next part of our office where we like to kind of relax and unwind and get our coffee. So we have open lunch areas. We have couch and TV. We like to just kind of relax a little bit when we need to. Here I'd like to introduce Ashley and Faith Ann. They are enjoying their lunch right now. We also are really closely located to some great restaurants. We're just south of Legacy and the North Dallas Tollway. So within walking distance, it's a really great prime location for people to just get out and on their lunch breaks. But today we have them here in the office. So next we have our interiors library. Here we have Marissa, who's working on pulling some samples for a project. And we have Lindsay. Lindsay, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Lindsay Miller, one of the interior designers here in our Dallas office. And yeah, I'm sitting here working on palette right now.
Where'd you go to school, Lindsay?
I went to UTA, so go Mavs.
Tell us a little bit about the samples you have here.
So I'm currently pulling samples for a very large high school in Eagle Mountain, Saginaw, and we are working on everything from auditorium finishes to athletics to main areas, bistro, so lots of different spaces. So.
And what's the size and the budget of the project?
It is a very large school. It's over, you put me on the spot. It's over 500 or right at, and a pretty large budget. So it's like 250 million. So, which feels like a lot, but with that big of a space, it goes quickly. So yeah, but yeah, having fun with that.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Great. If you guys follow me, I'll take you into our office area. We have about 30 people here in the Dallas location. On any given day, it varies because we are working a little bit remote right now, but here we have kind of an open collaborative space. We really encourage that one-on-one conversation that can happen when the walls are low and people are able to just kind of work close to each other without any interruptions. So follow me, I'll take you to some of the projects that we have going on. Oh, this one here is our value board. This is a wall that right when you walk in, you can see kind of all of the values that VLK really likes to exhibit in our projects, with our people, within the teams that they work on. And it's something that we really do try to live up to every single day. If you'll follow me, I'm going to take you to the Erickson team. Guys, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Great. Meet some UTA people here. Tell them about what you guys are working on. And
hey guys. Yeah, we're actually renovating a 270,000 square foot middle school for Allen ISD. We're renovating, well, a very large chunk of it. The curriculum delivery is going to change, so that's why we're going through and renovating a lot of the spaces to incorporate more collaborative type spaces. So we have our conceptual design over here with kind of a bubble diagram and the different colors that indicate the different program spaces. And what we have over here is we've taken the admin area, and now we're really breaking it down into individual offices, just really kind of laying it out from a schematic standpoint, see how that is going to translate over here, and then get into deeper design. Yeah.
Well said, Jim.
All right, if you guys follow me, I'll take you to Royce City. Royce City is one of our newer projects coming out of the Dallas office. Can I interrupt you guys for a second? All right, Natalie, if you'd like to say some words to the UTA.
Yeah, we're working on a new elementary school for Royce City ISD. So it's about 100,000 square feet. And you can kind of see we've been talking about where we want some exterior materials going. Right now we're having a conversation and doing some sketches on a library feature. They want our library to be like a tree house, and we're going to have a slide coming out of it, which is really exciting. So we're just having a conversation about how we're going to do the slide and how we meet all of our requirements, and just having some fun looking at our interior materials and our exterior materials and seeing how it's all coming together. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. All right, follow me. We'll take you to the other half of our office. This over here is just part of our regular team as well. We have 2 people or 3 people working back here right now on a middle school project. Kit, Helen, and Whitney, would you like to talk about?
Hey guys, yeah, this is Perry Middle School, and what we're working on here is a complete renovation of about 180 square feet, 180,000. And we had to have some discussions with the client about safety, and we had to where they would go during a tornado event or an active shooter event. So we wanted to make sure they were on board with which spaces had glass, did not have glass, and so they would be safe. So Helen and Whitney and I are just kind of reviewing that and how we're going to put that into the documents. It's a super challenging project because there's really not a whole lot of new building here. It's a complete renovation in this instance, but it's extremely gratifying because in the end, these kids are getting an up-to-date school, a lot more amenities. The span of the school runs from 1936 to 2008. It's like about 8 different pieces pulled together, and we're now changing that all up. That's represented here in this overall plan. We had to review the code, and we're blowing out all firewalls. So it's extremely challenging. Helen and Whitney have been really great in making this project come together. And we're going to go out to bids here in about 2 weeks. So no sleep. Oh wait, yeah, it's going to be fun. But it's extremely fun. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So one of the things you don't see right now is how we collaborate with the Fort Worth office and Austin and Houston offices. It really just varies on where the project team is located. So any given project might have a bunch of additional people who are coming from any of the other offices. We have our printing area back here, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and walk you guys out to the front. Not sure if any of you have any questions, but definitely pose them through the chat feature to Cody. So here's just an example of how we work here in our office. We've got the open spaces I mentioned. We've got every table, every quad group has a huddle table so that they can stop what they're doing, meet, collaborate, and work together on any given thing that they might have that comes up. So it's I'd say a great opportunity for people to be able to kind of grow within what it is they're learning, because they're able to hear what other teams are working on, and they're also able to see firsthand what other teams are working on. We also have little private huddle rooms so that if you need to have a private telephone conversation, we've got 2 little rooms that you can lock yourself in to have those meetings when you don't necessarily need a conference room. And we have additional huddle space too, where because of the pandemic, we've had to adjust a little bit in how we do things. Typically, this room consists of where interior vendors will come in and lay out their latest materials, and then they leave the office and invite us to come in and look at what everybody has as far as the newest line in their products. So. Great. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming to visit Dallas. We are, I think, one of the best locations because of where we're located. We are just really any given thing between great restaurants, movie theaters, and lots of multifamily. So it's really nice. We have a couple people who walk to work every day because they don't need to drive because there's apartments right across the area. So look forward to meeting all of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Hi, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your tour of our Dallas office, but I would like to welcome you to our VLK Fort Worth office. We are located in downtown off West 7th, and I am the architectural director of our office space. So I would like to take you through our office. This is Deanne, our receptionist in our reception area. As we enter into the office, we'll be greeted with our conference spaces as well as our awards wall. We underwent a renovation about 3 years ago where we, incorporated all of our awards into a consolidated list so that our guests and public people coming into the meetings can see kind of all of the highlights of recognition that we've received over the years from different districts. So moving this way, this is one of our conference rooms, and there's an operable wall in between that we can open up that combines both conference spaces into our main conference room. So this is perfect for hosting our office functions. We have about 80 people in this office. So when we have the entire office here in the space, we can open that wall and accommodate the whole group. We often use it for lunch and learns, project meetings and discussions, and also client meetings. So we have actually playing on the screen right now an animation of one of our recent projects that is just started construction. But our experienced design team worked with the project team to put that together to basically showcase the experience of the facility to the owner and the board and the community that it will be serving in Denton. So these conference rooms, one of the goals of the spaces and part of our renovation was to have a more flexible space for our growing staff to upgrade our AV and audio systems, and also have more collaboration spaces within the office. So moving this way, we will come to our kitchen and lounge space. So this is, we can host events within the office. We can have, when we have lunch and learns, we can set up on this counter space, and we can also host, private client events. So we wanted to have a casual atmosphere, but also still maintain some of the aesthetic of the professionalism of what we bring to the projects that we work on, the districts that we work on. So this bar space was one of the features of the kitchen area, and the purpose of this is to basically host the hoteling station. So when we have out of office guests, out of office, coworkers from other offices coming here for meetings, they have a place to set up and work. That's basically in a central spot, but it gives us that flexibility to accommodate those people. Moving this direction, we come to our private offices. So our principals, this is their office space. See the Cindy in the corner? She's super awesome and helpful in all that we do and coordinating all of our meetings and logistics. But this area was also part of our office renovation. So one thing that we wanted to do was basically maximize and utilize this space a little more effectively. Before it was just an open, empty space. So one of the goals was to provide counter space for our marketing department to put together RFQs and documents when we're going out for different projects, paraphernalia for our firm. And then this other space is basically a buffer between the workspace and then the private offices is more like a touchdown meeting space when needed for impromptu meetings and such. We call this the dog bone. So that's our fun word for this area. But it seats some of our architectural staff. Moving this way, we will enter into the proper area for all of our architectural staff and desk spaces. So starting on this end where Cody is showing right now will be our business management. That's where our accounting department sits and houses most of that staff. And then we enter into our marketing department space. And addition to that is our experience design team station. So the video that you saw in the main conference room, that would be the team that puts together that type of animation and outfit for our clients. Moving this way down the corridor, we have more architectural staff workstations, and we're going to take a pause at one of our designer stations, Arion, and he's just going to show really quick just a highlight of the high school, the new Eagle Mountain High School that he's been working on and designing. So,
hi everybody. Okay. First of all, I want to say how jealous I am for this generation because we had technology but never worked as good as now. So lucky you guys. All right, so just like Sarah said about that, we're working on a high school. It's one of the biggest projects that we have ever kind of taken as a firm, but I wanted to quickly kind of just highlight how easy nowadays the technology has helped to make it easy to explain our intent. I mean, we still do old school kind of hand sketching concepts, but you know, technology is right there. I mean, what you're seeing here is a live landscape model that we show to the client. We kind of express our intent. We do corrections on the spot. And it's pretty much a super handy tool. I mean, you can see it here. You can kind of navigate the building, you can walk inside, you can talk up to the landscape. And then we still have more technology that we kind of use. For example, we take the same model, we can render that in Max, 3D Max, I'm talking about. And this can be used kind of on presentation boards and so far. But has evolved quite a lot, guys. So I'm truly jealous about your era. It's all for Concord for you to take. All right, anything else?
Thank you, Ariane.
Oh, Aaron, we had a question. What software do we use to render?
We have multiple ones. Enscape is one that is attached to Revit, but 3D Max is a classical one. But pretty much those guys there that they do the renderings, I'm old school. I know those only three, but there are infinite numbers. So, but those are the main one that our office uses.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Ariane. All right, so back to going through the architectural staff workstations. You might notice that there's a combination of high stations and lower stations alternated throughout the open space. And that's basically to provide opportunity to let light come in and to break up the monotony of having one all tall section and then a short section. So that was part of the concept there with alternating the workstations. This area is our collaboration space, and basically to serve a few functions. We wanted to have flexibility to add workstations in the future, which you can see we've already done that as we've been growing very rapidly, but also an area to house additional hoteling stations for guests that are coming to work in our office, an area to pin up and have meetings with project teams. So we can pin up images or drawings and have work collaborations with the teams, and so it's a flexible space for that. And it's also a marker board surface, so we can draw on that as well. We can keep moving this way. More architectural staff spaces. One of our specification writers right there working hard at work. All right, now we are at our sample library. So this is an area, this was also part of our office renovations, but we wanted to have a space that we could display sample boards and materials that are works in progress on our projects, and basically have a central area to house all of that information that's accessible to all of our architectural staff that are working on their projects. So we have some interior designers that are working on color selections, and it's a great space where we can have, again, impromptu meetings for project teams to basically have the information right at our fingertips to make decisions on what we want to see on our projects. So it's been a really great space. So this phone room, I'm just going to point it out because it's part of that area, you know, one of the things that was to basically have a private space for conversations in smaller huddle space. But one of the negatives to it is it blocks a lot of our light into the materials room. So that's one thing that I could say, if we probably did it over again, we might not put that right there, but just, you know, we can critique our own design sometimes. It's okay. Coming back this direction, we'll come to another conference room. It's our West Conference Room. And this one has a great view of the area that we're in, West 7th, but this also has technology capabilities where we can video conference and put, you know, connect our computers to the screen, have client meetings, and it's just another space for our project teams to utilize for those meetings. But one of the cool features in here additionally is the glass that can also be used for another writing surface. So as of, you know, right now we don't have much really displayed on it, but it's definitely utilized when we work through design solutions, and we can sketch on it and just have those working sessions as when the project teams need to do that. So, all right. Making our way back around, we have some more architectural staff in this corner of the office. Hey, everybody.
How are you?
You know, one of the things that has been a challenge with the pandemic and, you know, working remotely and in person is just finding the balance of having people in the office and working from home. And so thankfully with technology, we've been able to kind of balance both, but that has definitely been something that we've had to overcome and try to come to a happy medium on how to accommodate, you know, that with society right now. More staff in the back, and again, more workstations where we have like the lower stations and the higher stations to break up the monotony. And then as we come to the back circle, we have our second break room and kitchen space, and then this is our plotter area, and then basically a layout space for our interiors to put together sample boards and workshop. A lot of times when we have reps come in, sample reps, they'll come right here and they can lay everything out and kind of spread out in this area and show the different products. And I will say we are in the process of, we're going to be moving to a new location at the beginning of the year. So excuse our packing and our going through of all of our stuff, preparing for that move. So we've outgrown the space. So that's an exciting thing to come, but that's part of why you see boxes and piles everywhere, because we are getting ready to make that transition. So, all right. What else? This is the kitchen space, and then we make a big giant loop around the office. So we're actually at the end here, and when I go out, we'll be back at the entry. So what I'll do is I guess I'll end the tour here, and we'll turn it back over to the rest of the team so we can open up the floor for questions about either the office spaces or about VLK just in general. And I will make my way back to my desk so I can help answer those as needed. Thanks, guys.
So we answered a couple questions in the chat. I'll expand on the last question that Isaiah proposed, that it's been a lot different the last year since a lot of our staff has been working from home due to COVID. But prior to that, we were very focused on, while staff didn't move desks frequently, they did sit near each other with their project team. So it was easy to collaborate. They could talk over their cubes, ask questions. But our main focus is to set people of different experience levels and different job roles within the firm all sitting together, to where the construction administrator can come back from a job site and the emerging professional sitting next to them can learn, ask a quick question about what they saw today, or overhear them on a phone call to kind of just eavesdrop and gain information about how to answer that tough question from a contractor or from an owner. So that's the biggest thing, is trying to sit people to where they are able to learn from different experiences, whether it be a different job role or just experience from tenure in the profession.
Thanks for answering, Justin. Yeah, I could say from some of my internship experiences, one of my favorite things was like I would sit next to, say, a project manager, and I would hear them speaking with clients or consultants over the phone, and I would just be eavesdropping, but like learning while they're doing their work. And then after they're done, I'll follow up, hey, what was the conflict there, or what was that you were having to work through? And those were, some of those valuable teaching moments that you just get on the fly just by sitting next to someone. So that's great to hear. If I may follow up with that last question. So it sounds like when someone joins a team or they first start out at your office, that they'll be, at least in close proximity to those on the same project team. Is there any, or are there any opportunities to, say, bounce between projects to get a variety of experiences at the VLK office?
Yeah, we do, and I'll let Jennifer and Sarah weigh in too. But our focus is to get all of our emerging professionals experience to where they can develop into well-rounded architects. The way we try to do that is to place them on a project team to where they're working with the project leadership from the start of the project to the end of the project. So they are working under the project designer at the beginning, under the project architect through production, and working under the construction administrator during construction. And we feel that offers that experience that you can gain knowledge in design phase and design development, construction documents, and in construction, all in the same project. So you can have take ownership in what you're designing, how you're documenting it, and then go out and see it built. When we do summer internships, that is when we try to maybe have you work on a couple different projects, just because in a 3 or 4 month span in the summer, it's a lot harder to gain experience because a lot of our projects are in design for 6 to 8 months. And so sometimes if you just spent time on one project, then you would only have opportunity to see maybe one phase or 2 phases. So Sarah or Jennifer, if you want to add anything to that.
Sure, I'd like to say that really depends. We need to hear from you what it is that you are interested in, so we know how to tailor what it is that we can put you on. So be communicative with us, and or any office you go to, let them know what you want. Always state what you need. Let us know what ASP hours you have to check so that we can help put you in the things that help make you successful.
Yeah, I think they both really covered anything I would have to add to that. But yeah, I'll just echo what they've said as far as we want to provide the opportunity for you guys to learn as much as possible. So whatever that looks like. So we'll just have that open conversation where we'll provide as much opportunity as possible, different project teams, different phases, different project types, just to get the full experience. But if there's a particular area that you enjoy more, like if I came to you and said, hey, you're working in production right now, but there's an opportunity to do design, like, would you want to come over and work on this? And some people might say, no, I'm completely happy doing production. I'm good where I'm at. So it's just having that dialogue and just transparency and what you're trying to gain. But ultimately we're here to help you learn as much as possible.
Another follow-up question, and any of the students, feel free to either ask them in the chat or speak up if you have one yourself. But for those who don't know, VLK was at our career fair. So I wanted to ask about the new opportunities, whether they're internship or full-time employment that VLK may be offering.
Yes, I was the one who interviewed for UTA, so I know I saw a couple names in the chats that I interviewed. So thank you very much for your interest. We are hiring. We're looking for summer emerging professionals who are just looking for a part-time summer position, and we're looking for people who can be full-time as well in all of our offices, specifically Austin, Dallas, and Fort Worth. And there is an opportunity for Houston if you're interested as well. But for the most part, those are the 3 offices we're looking to hire for right now.
I have a question. What does the size look like in your firm, and how do y'all measure it for anyone that's hired on?
Well, I'll start if it's on me. I'm not sure if it's still on me. Yeah. So for me, success is you showing initiative and wanting to learn more. As an emerging professional, you have so much to learn in order to become an architect, if that's what your intent is. And I want to see that drive from you. So I want to see you wanting to be a part of the team, wanting to help the team. We consider ourselves family here at VLK. So how you treat your team members, hopefully it's like family. And that's something that really helps, I feel, our teams just grow and flourish, is when people feel like they can speak up when they have a question and be heard, and also participate with ideas. Just because you're new to the company or new to the profession doesn't mean that you don't have great ideas coming out of school. So those are things that I would look for from somebody that's a new graduate or still in school right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think taking the initiative to be engaged and ask the questions and participate goes a long way, because there's no way you can really grow and learn if you're just sitting in the background and not, your success and the things that you're going to gain from your work or your internship or whatever is really like up to you guys. So I really want to see people being involved and being assertive and, just kind of taking the lead and taking the reins of like your success and what that looks like. And the other thing is, and I even tell this to the emerging professionals that we have here. I mean, everyone's going to make mistakes. And the important thing is that when that happens, that you recognize what you could have done differently and just learn from it and take that going forward and apply that thing that you learned on your future projects and bring those to your project team. So I think that's super important too.
Thank you.
I had another question. Oh, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, I was going to answer one of the questions in the chat from Hannah. So she asked if the firm tries to satisfy the client, but do we ever disagree with what the client wants as far as design aspects? And I would say all the time. I think we take it to heart that we are attempting to make our clients successful. And so some of that means educating our clients on what a best practice is or what a best design solution is. And a lot of our clients are K through 12. And so we feel that we are designing for students and teachers, but usually our client is the facility manager or the superintendent of schools. And obviously they are wanting their best interest of the students and teachers as well. But sometimes they will say, oh, we want to do this because it's easier to maintain. And that's something we have to consider. And so we try to take all of that feedback from every one of those people that work for the school district and deliver the best possible facility that satisfies all those requirements. And sometimes there's compromises that come up, but it's all about communication with our client, making sure they understand what they're getting, and selling our experience of what the decisions that are being made so that they can understand the building they're going to get, that they're moving into. So a lot of it, think of if you're designing your own house and you had somebody telling you that you should use this material on the floor because it's the best thing, but you said, no, I want this. There's obviously experience from the designer standpoint that is pointing them to why they're recommending something. But in the end, it's not the designer's building. So if the owner understands what they're buying and what they're going to get and how they're going to have to live with it, then we will provide that, as long as it meets code requirements and it's safe. I don't know, Jennifer or Sarah, if you want to add anything to that.
No, I think that's true.
And I would add one other thing is that I've told younger designers too, is don't ever go to a design meeting with 3 options and have an option that you are not fully behind and cannot fully defend. and this is true even in school. If you're going to jury and the professor says, I need you to do this, and I had this actually happen to me. They recommended doing something, and so I went down that path, and then I got to jury, and one of the jurors asked me why I went that way, and I had to defend that. And it's the same way in real life, that if you go with three options and you're kind of not sold with one of them, and the owner asks you, well, why'd you do this? And you're like, well, and you don't have an answer for that. It's not good. You want to make sure that you can defend it to anybody that asks you why you made that decision, to make sure you're providing the best design solution, something that you can live with and are comfortable with.
To that, a huge part of our business are repeat clients. So we want to make sure that we're making them happy and that they want to come back, because school districts have more than just one school project typically in them. So we, being that that's a bulk, but it's not just schools, it's any client. When you have repeat business, that says a lot about your firm as a whole, that they respond to clients' needs and that
You're muted. You're muted.
what I was saying was that we repeat business is a huge part of our what we do here. So we want to make sure that we're making the client happy, that the teams are working the best they can to meet the client's needs, but also it says a lot about a company when you have repeat business, because it says that a client who has many opportunities to go to another firm chooses you again.
There's another question about for Mara. Do you provide opportunities for sophomore and junior students for internship? So I will say yes. And obviously a lot depends on the applicants we get. And we always look for summer interns that fit our values and are going to come in and work hard. And obviously we want to provide them a good experience and want them to learn. But definitely a lot of student summer interns that we've had are coming out of their sophomore or junior years. And it really, whether we hire, I guess who we hire is all dependent on how many applicants we get and how much space we have for the summer. So
I was going to add, I had one private message asking about how to apply for an internship here. Y'all may have already touched on this, but I was just going to say I'll put my email and Jennifer's email in the chat. So if y'all want to send your information, your resume or portfolios to us, and we can review it. But that's probably the best way to get us your information.
If I can ask another question, something unique I noticed about your office was, I forget what you called it. Was it your experience team that you showed at the beginning of the Fort Worth tour? Do you mind telling us a little bit more about that? Like how do they integrate, or maybe describe more in detail what it is that they do, how they integrate with the other project teams, and are their backgrounds also in architecture? They just specialize in, this experience sort of responsibilities?
Sure, I'll start and then I'll let Justin or Jennifer or even Brad weigh in, because Brad is actually helping lead the tour for the Dallas office right now. But so basically they're housed in our Fort Worth office. That's there are a couple people in Houston, but the main group of them are in Fort Worth. I believe all of them have background in architecture, but I wouldn't say that is an absolute requirement. I think that's definitely a benefit, and preferred, so you can really understand when you're working with the design teams, what is the intent, and really have the full understanding of what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to convey to the owners. But their main role, in addition to, they do a lot of stuff, so it's kind of hard to summarize, but in regards to working with project teams specifically, a lot of times they will come in and they will work with during like SD to work with the designer and even in DD, and basically understand what the design intent is, what are they trying to convey to the owner. And they'll work alongside to make sure we have materials modeled correctly and we have views set up correctly so that we can generate images for either board presentations. And sometimes we even have requests for animations like the one that was showing in our conference room for the stadium, so that we can give the owners the actual experience of the space, more than just a still image. So they'll be looped into with the design teams to work very closely on understanding what the designer wants to see and what the design intent is, so that they can help facilitate and then generate those images and animations. But Brad, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. I'm Brad Minton. I'm the Director of Experience Design. We also call ourselves XD just because it sounds cool. And to answer the question that you asked about having a degree in architecture, it's kind of half and half for our team. So I actually got my bachelor's and master's in architecture at UTA, so go Shorthorns. And when I was in school, I was just always really interested in the visualization aspect of it. And luckily, right when I got out of school, I got an opportunity at VLK to do something very specific to what I like to do. And since that time in 2013, we've kind of morphed it into doing not just some renders and animations, but also videography. We dabble in virtual reality, graphic design, wayfinding, the graphics packages that you see in buildings and schools. So we kind of we like to say that we do everything between architecture and marketing is kind of where we live. And like Sarah said, we have a pretty solid process set up with the design teams, a series of meetings where we will essentially link in their Revit model to our software. And then, the name of our team is Experience Design, specifically because we design the experience of that space. Just setting up a camera and hitting render is one thing, adding some materials is one thing, but when you can really try to tell the story of that space or that building with really evocative imagery or animation, and even live video and motion graphics and things like that, it really helps tell the story of the entire facility. So that's kind of where we live, and it is kind of a unique thing that we house all of that work within VLK, but it allows us to remain in very close communication with all the design teams versus trying to send it out and farm it out and hope that someone does a good job. We're so deeply embedded in VLK that by the time we get the project and start going, we already know what the intent is. We've already heard about the project. We're already somewhat familiar with it. And then our job is just to help really sell that experience.
Yeah, thanks for answering, Brad. And I have to say, as you're describing your career path, that it gave me some encouragement, because I also, throughout college, I've dabbled in videography, motion graphics and stuff. So it's good to see that you found a way to plug that and architecture together. I hope to do something similar myself.
Sweet.
There's just one more question I saw that from Dalal. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So yeah, we went to, I think, 7 different university job fairs this year, all in the last 3 weeks. So if you've not heard back from us, be patient. We will get back to you as soon as we can. We have a lot of applicants from each university, and I know Jennifer and Sarah and Charles in our Houston office are sorting through resumes and trying to respond to everybody as quick as they can. So if you haven't heard yet, should hear in the next couple days.
Great, thank you very much.
I'm muted. I was going to respond to the question about what do you look for in a portfolio? And Jennifer or Justin can add to what I'm about to say, but generally your portfolio should highlight projects that you feel basically showcase the work that you've done and tell the story of your process and how you approach your work, and give kind of the best screenshot for us to see, where your passion lies and, you know, what your skill set is that you'll be bringing to the firm. So basically your best summary of collection of that information that you'd be sending to us to review. So Jennifer, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd like to say that your resume and your portfolio sometimes are the only snapshot we get of you before we decide to pass it on or extend you an interview. So making sure grammar and spelling is that's such a huge important part, because if you can't take care of that in one of the most important documents of your life, are you going to be that way when you're sending an email or contacting a client or that representation of you? It's so important to have it be the best. And like Sarah said, your design process, it doesn't have to always be the best picture. It can show how you worked on an idea and you failed at it, but maybe this is how you fixed it and you feel like it represented what you wanted the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. It's your first impression to anyone that you're sending it to. So just think about it like that. I don't think there's any other questions.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions. Isaiah, I don't know. We're getting close to 1 o'clock now. Is there any other questions? And then if not, we can sign off.
Yeah, thank you, everybody on the team, Justin and the rest of you. Really appreciate it, especially how y'all curated your firm tours. The last firm tour, they had curated a video beforehand. So I enjoyed y'all's getting to walk with you throughout the office, also getting to ask questions about specific things as we were walking around. So really appreciated that, and I thought it was also very informative. So thank you all for sharing your office and your work with our students. I think we all got something out of it. And, you know, I see Hannah in the chat saying it felt like an actual firm tour, and I would agree. So I just wanted to extend all of our many thanks from AIAS and from ETA for you know, putting on this opportunity for us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to participate, and we enjoyed sharing this. And again, as a UTA alum, I want to see everybody at UTA succeed. I didn't mention earlier too that our CEO, our CFO, and our managing partner are all UTA alum. So
all right,
we are a UTA owned firm, and obviously,
and you're in the Fort Worth office, so
yeah,
I didn't point that out either. But
and we like going to UTA career fairs every year, and I think we've hired somebody from UTA, I think the last 20 years probably. So at least as long as I've been here, we've always had at least one new person start from UTA every year. So
well, thank you again, VLK. I think that's a great place to end it. And for those of you, if you may have jumped on a little bit later, we talked about at the beginning, we'll grab this recording from you and we'll be able to distribute the video. That way, if you missed any part, you can go back and catch up. But thank you again, VLK. And we hope that this isn't the last time we get to see y'all. Certainly that won't be.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
thank you, everybody.